Let me ask, how far away were you from him when he was killed?
Probably 25 feet. I was off to his right. I was off his right elbow parallel to him. I was FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law and, all those stupid conspiracy theories. The man in the white hat, I was the guy in the white hat. You probably saw that. It's okay to ask questions. It always is. Unless it's the complex question, Eric. Like if I were to ask you, when did you stop beating your wife? You'd go, whoa, there's more to that than a question. You're making an accusation at the same time. And so many of the questions being asked are complex questions. They're implied. When you say, well, Mikey McCoy didn't act right. In fact, Candace said this. And look, I don't know Candace's motives. I'm not trying to judge her motives here. She may think she's pure as the wind-driven snow, and she's just trying to find the truth. Okay, fine. But when you say things like, there's only three things that can happen in a tragedy. This is what Candace said, you can go toward the tragedy, you can run from the tragedy, or you can freeze. And I can categorically tell you, Eric, that's false. Because in a tragedy, first of all, you don't know how you're going to react unless you've been trained beforehand. And I was in the Navy, which, by the way, stands for Never Again Volunteer Yourself. But in the Navy, we would have emergency procedures. Emergency procedures were, if this happens, you automatically do X. You don't think about it, you just do it. Obviously, airline pilots have the same kind of thing. You go right through your checklist. You don't think, you just do. You've practiced it so many times, you just do it. Charlie drilled into Mikey's head, if anything happens to me, the first thing you do is call Erica. That's exactly what he did. He called Erica immediately. It wasn't one of the three options that Candace gave. It was the emergency procedure that she knew nothing about. And the only reason I did what I did is because I thought about it beforehand. I was always worried what would happen. I was always worried that somebody would at some point take a shot at Charlie. And I said to myself, if I'm ever there, do something to help him, whatever that is, get to him somehow. And so as soon as the shot rang out, I took a step toward him. And then I thought, there's probably more shots coming. And I ducked. And his men were already on him. I mean, there were 6 of them around him. At least 4 of them carried him to the car because they were the 4 in the car with me.
Let me ask, how far away were you from him when he was killed?
Probably 25 feet. I was off to his right. I was off his right elbow parallel to him. I was FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law because they were big Charlie fans. And this was live. I'm like, hey, we're right here. So 25 feet maximum. And, all those stupid conspiracy theories. The man in the white hat, I was the guy in the white hat. You probably saw that.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying. Like when I realized that the guy in the white hat is my friend, Frank, I said, wow, are they getting this wrong? Like these lunatics.
Even if you didn't know me, the whole theory's absurd. Like some shooter 100, 200 yards away. First of all, if he's looking through a scope, he can't see me. I'm 25 feet off Charlie's right elbow. But secondly, why would he need anybody to signal him? He knows there's only one guy under the tent with a microphone, and that's Charlie Kirk. The whole thing is ridiculous. And yet the FBI, because the FBI checks into conspiracy theories, they won't tell you they're doing that. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But the FBI actually called me and they said, I know I have to ask you this. I know it's crazy, but were you signaling the shooter? And I said to him, yeah, I was telling him to steal second base. I mean, it's the dumbest thing in history. I mean, why would he need someone to signal him? It doesn't make any sense. But people come up with all sorts of crazy conspiracy
Well, Frank, part
theories.
of this, I just want to say, what really has grieved me is, and again, this is spiritual warfare. This is the darkness of it, the evil around us. To see the gullibility of people, even people that I know and think well of, how quickly they get sucked into something like this. Their willingness to believe crazy stuff. It's it's the same thing as when you encounter somebody that's watched a bunch of videos that the earth is flat. I want to smack them. Hey, idiot.
But Eric,
they've watched a few videos. They've got their story. And you think, do I even engage in a conversation with this person? When it comes to some of the stuff that I've heard, I thought, this is just heartbreaking that there are people who I guess they never really learned how to think clearly.
Well,
like they are wonderful people, but they are sucked in.
We don't teach logic in school anymore, but let's steel man their case. There have been in recent years instances of authorities lying to us.
Yep.
So we are in an environment now where people think everybody's lying.
Okay, this is an important point.
Mm-hmm.
When the election was stolen in 2020, when the COVID stuff happened, we were told everybody has to get the shot, and that was when the scales fell from my eyes. And it really did change so much for me that I suddenly realized, LBJ and company murdered JFK. It was not Oswald. The deep state, CIA, FBI seems to have taken out Richard Nixon. According to my friend Roger Stone, the same thing happened trying to take out Reagan. I would have never believed that before 2021. And so a lot of us have been through a process where we go, oh my God. But the problem is you then get people, and this is what you're talking about, who take the next step. Everything is a conspiracy.
That's right.
Everybody's lying. Hillary Clinton is a lizard person. Oh, no. Hillary Clinton was just hanged at Guantanamo. That's not her in the video. It's a double. That's not Biden. Look at his earlobes. Everything now becomes
Epstein.
Not in Clinton. A blender. Yeah. And there are people that are very susceptible to this. They will believe anything. And folks, I just want to tell you, the truth is tough enough. You don't need to make stuff up. Just stick to the absolute facts. But that's part of what we're seeing here is that there's an appetite, there's an audience, there's money to be made by spinning this stuff. And I just have to say, it's painful to see that there's an audience for this. It's painful to see that there are people willing to make money off of this. In any event, you were there. Did you actually see the moment that Charlie was killed? Were your eyes on him at that horrible moment?
Yes. Yeah. I heard it and he went right back. And I was on FaceTime with, as I say, my son and my daughter-in-law. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but my daughter-in-law said, "You just said, no. And then it was seconds. They got him out on if you're looking at the tent, the right side of the tent, I'm on the left side of the tent. So I go behind the tent to meet with them behind it on the way to the car. And there's some video of this, you can see it. And then I got into the back of the car, so I'm perched over him. And that's when I said to the crowd at the memorial, he wasn't looking at me. He was looking right past me. His eyes were fixed. He was already with Jesus. But of course, we had to do what, we had to try CPR. We had to try, you stop the bleed. People say there was no blood. It's so stupid. There was blood everywhere. I mean, we couldn't stop it, Eric. And,
this brings up so many things. First of all, my other dear friend, Rob McCoy, you talk about anybody that loved Charlie. And of course, his son is Mikey McCoy. Rob, I guess, misspoke at some point because there was blood on you. And then he says that, and then he references his son. So everybody says, well, Rob McCoy lied. He said there was blood all over Mikey and da-da-da-da-da-da. And again, this is like one of these things when you know somebody, you're like, Rob McCoy is, first of all, he's not, that would be really stupid if you're going to lie like that. But I also know the person. You're like, No, why? But people would hang their hat on that all day long. Like, well, there we have it. We have proof that he's part of something, And I thought, oh my gosh.
Can I speak to that? Because Mikey just talked about it on the Charlie Kirk show the other day. The main point here is this. Not every false statement is a lie. And people think it is. Rob was confused about what Mikey said when Mikey called and said he's been shot in the neck. There's blood everywhere. So he said something like that. And look, the three of us in the back seat, let me just say that we had to change our clothes, okay? Because we didn't want Erica seeing us. And so we were wearing hospital scrubs by the time she got there. I threw away my clothes. So Rob didn't understand who he thought maybe Mikey was too, because Mikey was there. Not every false statement is a lie. Just like there's this controversy now over drones, because I said we had some drone footage coming in when an hour out, Charlie got what I thought was drone footage on his, because it was from above, of the crowd. I said, well, the crowd is amazing. That's when I said to him, I said, Charlie, I don't like this place. There's too many buildings. And he just shrugged it off because he's brave and he knew he had to have some level of risk in order to reach people, especially in an outdoor event. So we went ahead with it. Well, I talked to Brian Harpool. He was in the car with me in the back. He was the head of security. It's on Sean Ryan's program. I said, was there a drone up before? He said there were no drones up during the event. He said the PR team may have put a drone up briefly before the event just to get a shot of the crowd. But the other possibility is this, and I didn't know this until we got there. Now that I think about it, there were people over us, Eric. There was I don't know, we're down in an amphitheater and there are people, I looked up, they were everywhere. That shot could have been taken from an iPhone,
right,
from above us,
right,
rather than a drone.
Right.
So either there was a drone up early before the event, just a PR drone, not a surveillance drone, or that shot was taken by somebody on the team with an iPhone from above.
Right.
Neither was a lie. People will say, well, look, Harpool said there were no drones. Turek said there was a drone. It's one of them is a lie. No, neither are a lie. Okay. It was a misunderstanding. I wasn't at the event until I got there, but this footage came an hour before we got there.
Well,
and I didn't know there was
again, you're a master of logic. This is what you do. I don't even think I said it in my intro, but you're an apologist for the faith and you deal with evidence. And it's so interesting because, again, I was referencing a friend who said to me, oh, I have all these questions. And did you know? And, throwing this stuff out that I guess was on some video, probably a Candace video that, well, they went to the wrong hospital. How do they know where the hospital? Like all those kinds of questions. And you just think, for God's sake, do you understand what you're saying? And then trying to attack Erica. It is so wicked. It is so sick that people would do this. But again, Frank, what this makes me see, and it's painful, is to see the evil that is still in good people, in Christian people, who there are parts of them that are unsanctified and they are somehow susceptible to this kind of deception. It's hard. It's hard to see. And I just, that's why it's so important for me to talk to you, because just, because you were right there. And look, I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of the bottom. There's always questions about everything, but some of the stuff has to be put to bed. Some of these things that have been said are just horrendous.
Well, let me just say quick 3 things. Anything's possible, but not every possibility has evidence behind it. You could say an alien shot Charlie.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
But you need evidence if you're going to implicate somebody in a murder. You can't just say this is a possibility and therefore that guy then is guilty. This is why Mikey McCoy's getting death threats. Mikey McCoy, he won't even step on an ant. The kid is so docile and so friendly. I get emails. You never know what can happen to you. You need to repent. Repent. I'm going, what? What are you talking about? People believe this now. So that's point number one. Secondly, not every false statement is a lie. Sometimes it could be, obviously it could be a lie. It could be just ignorance. It could be like, I didn't know there was an overhang above us. I didn't know somebody could have been up there with a video camera with their iPhone taking pictures from above to show us the crowd. I thought it was drone footage. Either that or there was a drone up earlier before the event, but legally there couldn't have been one up during the event. The third thing is that the prosecution, people don't understand how prosecutions work. The prosecution's job is not to quell internet conspiracy theories. The prosecution's job is to convict the real killer. And they will not tell you what they're doing in the prosecution for at least 3 reasons. Number one, suppose they say we're investigating a second shooter. And they tell the public that. The public, if some guy comes forward and says, Mr. DA, I saw the second shooter, they don't know whether that guy really saw the second shooter or he just heard they're looking for a second shooter and the guy's trying to make a name for himself, right? So they keep all that quiet. Secondly, they can't taint the jury pool. Thirdly, they can't tip off the defense. And so the prosecution is not going to reveal what they have to reveal before they have to. And that's normally at a pretrial hearing, which is until January, or the trial itself. And how do I know this? Because my friend J. Warner Wallace is a cold case homicide detective. He's prosecuted several homicides. And this is what he says. They cannot get out in front of the case. Their job is not to be a PR firm for the prosecution. Their job is to get the conviction of the real killer. And let me, if you want to do what ifs and you want to say, well, people are acting strangely. Eric, do you think if Tyler Robinson was not the true killer, don't you think his parents would be screaming? You haven't heard a word from them. They were the ones that turned him in. Okay? Now, we'll get to the bottom of this during the trial, but the best evidence we have now is that Tyler Robinson is the killer. Whether he acted alone or not, they're checking into that, but they're not going to tell us what they're doing. It would defeat the purpose of a prosecution.
There are people that I respect that have emailed me and said, Eric, if you want to have me on the program, I can explain to you how a 30-6 could not have been the murder weapon. Now, I didn't take my friend up on that because we haven't been doing that many shows and whatever. But, people seem to be convinced about X or Y or Z.
Wrong. I'm going to keep saying that. Wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong. And I'll tell you why it's wrong. Because, again, my friend J. Warner Wallace will tell you that it all depends on the distance of the shot, the age of the round, because, look, if he truly is using his grandfather's weapon and his grandfather's ammunition, that round could have been 50 years old. Okay? And also what it struck when it hit. And if it struck his spine, which is what probably happened, that round fragmented. And it's false that claim that it couldn't have been a 30-6. That's just false. Okay? It could have been. We'll find out once the autopsy is released.
Yeah.
And the autopsy is not going to be released until it has to be released.